Hey everybody, welcome to the Mahoning Matters Sports Show for the week. I'm editor Chris Pugh. I'm here with our sports writer Mike Brown. Mike, how are you?
Chris, I'm doing great.
Well, good. Good to hear that. This is what do you call it? The penultimate, the next to last polls for football.
Right?
Sorry, football. Man, it's so nice outside. For some
Well,
reason, I'm thinking about football.
football will be here
No,
before we know it, Chris.
right. Let's say this right. Let me take a breath. Our
Yeah,
baseball and softball polls.
sure.
Obviously, hopefully, our baseball and softball teams will play at least a few more weeks.
Yep.
But next week's the last week of our weekly poll.
hmm
So, tell me what's happening in our baseball poll for this week, though.
Yeah, and our baseball poll, we got good teams in baseball and softball, Chris. In our baseball poll this week, we're looking at the Poland Bulldogs. They remain number one, and they're 16-3 on the season. They're also the number one seed in the D2 sectional district tournament that begins this week. So Poland's doing really really well. West Branch is number two. I think they've been number two for a few weeks now. They're 19-5. They got a 7-5 win over the Federal League's Glen Oaks Golden Eagles last week. So they beat Jackson, which at the time I think was leading the Federal League, and they've also beat Glen Oak from the Federal League. So those are two quality wins for the Warriors this year. West Branch is the number three seed in the D2 sectional district, and then number three in baseball, Capefield Cardinals. They've won 11 in a row. They're playing really good baseball, and they're coming off an 11-2 win over Crestview. So those are our top three in the baseball poll, Chris.
What do you look at when you look at these draws coming up? I mean, for our top teams like Poland, West Branch, and Canfield, how difficult is that original district at that terrain?
Oh, I tell you what, somebody was commenting to me, and I agree with this, that those teams are eventually going to meet each other. And it's a shame because I think all three teams are state caliber teams, but they're going to meet somewhere down the road, and probably one of those teams, I think, will get out, have a chance to get out. But it's a shame that they're going to meet in this sectional district because if they were in another district, I think all three of them would have a real good shot to get out. So it's like anything though in Northeastern Ohio. If you can get out of the district in a regional in Northeastern Ohio, you're going to do well. Whether it's a regional going to state or a district going to regional, you're going to do well because the strength of schedule and the talent of the teams in our area, I'd put it up against any other region of Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, you've got your top three teams in Division Two, so like you said, with
That's right.
them all being in Northeast Ohio, they're going to play each other before long. So,
Yep,
wow.
you got it. Yep.
Yeah, and let's take a look at softball. What are you looking at there?
In softball, we talk about baseball being loaded. Our top three softball teams, yeah, I'd put up against anybody in the state. I mean, number one team's Austin Fitch. They've been number one for, I think, every week but one in our poll. They're the defending state Division I champ with a ton of talent coming back. And so they're number one in our poll again this week. They're 17-1. They have shut out 13 of their 17 opponents this year, Chris,
Wow.
which is
Wow.
that's just amazing. And they've won 13 straight games, and I really think they're one of the not only the top team in Ohio, I think they're one of the top teams in the nation.
Yeah.
They're really really good with Sidney Watts in the circle for them pitching, and they've got a lot of talent offensively too. So yeah, they're our number one team. Canfield Cardinals. They're 20-3. They're number two in our poll this week. They have won 6 straight games, and including a 13-0 tourney rout of the Geneva Eagles in their last game. So they're number three. And then number three is Warren Champion. They hold, I think they're tied with Strasburg and Akron Springfield for the most state softball titles in OHSAA history, are the champion Golden Flashes. They've won 9, and they're 18-4 in this season, and they haven't lost to a team in their own division. Their losses are to teams that are like D1 and D2. So I think those top three teams in the tournament, I think they've got a chance because, and the nice thing is we've got one in Division one in Division 2, and one in Division 3. I think they all have a really good chance to get to state. And Akron Firestone is hosting the state softball tournament again this year.
Well, and I like that stat, with champion because again, if you're losing just teams in Division One and Two,
Yeah.
it almost really revs you up for the playoffs. And when you get in that tournament, you're playing just against Division Three teams. It
Yeah.
gives you a great chance of getting ahead.
Yep, and Champion really plays up in its schedule too, and Campfield does too. I think that really helps them in the tournament. I mean, look at Campfield. One of their only losses to Fitch, and then they also beat Fitch. Those two split. That's how good those two teams are. And then Champion, I believe, one of their losses to Worcester Triway, which won a state title a couple years back. I mean, Triway has a great tradition in softball. So these teams have really played a good schedule, and they're battle tested as they go into the tournament here.
And getting back to what we talked about a week or two ago, with these teams like Campfield and Poland dropping in divisions. I mean, yeah, Campfield's poised to make a big run this year.
Yeah.
What's it going to look like in a year or two? With
Oh my goodness.
them dropping down too.
Yeah. Canfield in Division 4 in boys girls basketball is going to be scary. And they're probably going to be D4 in some other sports too. They're right on the cusp. I think they're like two kids under in the one gender and pretty close in the other. They're going to be D4 in basketball. They will just be a power. I'll be stunned say 3-4 years from now if we don't say the Canfield Cardinals have gotten to state once or twice in boys and girls basketball. I really will. I think that's the greatest thing that could have happened to their programs were tremendous in Division 2. But being in the new Division 4 next year, oh my goodness, are they going to be good?
They'll probably impact the softball too, I imagine, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, it will. Yep, yeah, they'll be a 3 or a 4 in softball as well.
Wow, amazing! It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yep.
Let's follow up on a story that we've been on for a few weeks now. Eastern Buckeye Conference,
Yes.
new member for football. It sounds like we got some news. It's anticipated, but looks like it's finally going through.
It has, and it's official now. I got a hold of Salem Athletic Director Matt Freeman recently, and Matt is serving as the president. He's the athletic director at Salem, but he's the president of the EBC this year. So, he's the one that would have the official statement. And he got a hold of me recently, and he said it's now official that Howland will join the EBC in JV and varsity football only, beginning in the fall of 2026. So it's a done deal. So the Tigers are going to be in the EBC. I think that's a win-win for everybody there because that I think that'll help Howland's program. I really do, even though there's going to be some travel involved there. But like a lot of the coaches tell me, it's only going to be every other year, Chris. If they have to go to Carrollton, Carrollton has to go there. It's only every other year because it's football only. So that's going to help them, and I think it helps the EBC. The EBC's been stuck on 6 teams, and they've been looking for a 7th and 8th team, and some other teams kind of entered the mix in the last couple of years, and for one reason or another, it didn't work out. So I think it gives the EBC, at least from a football standpoint, a little bit more stability. It's much better to have 7 teams. I mean, ideally, you like to have 8, but it's better to have 7 teams than 6 because when you have 6, then you're teetering on, you don't want to go to 5 because you don't see 5-team football leagues in Ohio. So I think it's good that they've added a 7th team in football, and we'll go from there. And I think it buys the EBC time to maybe find maybe an 8th team for football or all sports down the road.
Yeah, I'm thinking the 8th team. I mean, they're obviously not ready to announce anything, but you kind of wonder if they're starting to having conversations and just trying to say who might be interested, or sometimes too. I'm looking at other teams either in our area or maybe down towards Stark or anything. When you say, "Wow, they have 7 teams," almost turns up the antenna for other schools out there saying, "Hey, could we join?" Maybe EBC's getting some calls from other interesting people.
Yeah.
Any ideas of even speculating who might be a team out there that might be open to a call like that?
No, well, I know that they had talked to East Liverpool, and that was on and then off again the last few years. And then I saw recently where the league down on the river, they've gone to 2, I believe, 2 7 or 8 team divisions, and East Liverpool and Beaver Local are going to be. So I think that East Liverpool maybe down the road going to the EBC, you can forget about that because that league down on the river. I think is stabilized itself now, and they were a little worried that there was some instability there, but I think this recent now, and it happened within the last month, that that league is, I believe, going to have two 7-team or two 8-team divisions, so they're going to be set for the future there. So where the EBC would look next, Chris, is your guess is as good as mine. They've talked to schools over the years, but it just hasn't worked out for one. It just hasn't been a fit one way or the other. And so and it's been a while that they've been looking for another team. So we'll have to see how that plays out down the road. But right now, I don't think there's an 8th team on the horizon. I think what it does, it buys them time to talk to some more schools over the next few years. But right now, it is what it is.
You had something about a year ago talking about the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that looks? Is that stable, or could there maybe be some changes there?
No, I think that league's pretty stable. That's a pretty good situation. They have 2 divisions in that league, and I think that's I think they're set. I think a lot of these other leagues in the Youngstown area are pretty solid now. I mean, there's been some movement here and there over the years, but I think we've got some pretty solid leagues right now.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, congratulations to Howland. It'll be interesting. EBC, like I said, you used to see a lot more schools on the other side of Stark County.
Yeah.
It's kind of moving east now. Louisville's no longer in that league, and it's kind of headed more toward our area here in Youngstown. So
yeah, when you think that league started out, it was the Northeastern Buckeye Conference, and you had Dover and Akron, Springfield, and Louisville, and all those teams that were to the west. And all those teams have gone now, and it definitely is a league that's moving eastward. I think that's probably going to be the direction it continues in the future as well.
Yeah, well, especially when you have like Salem's Line, I think that kind of opened up the way of let's head over in that direction. So it could be good.
Absolutely. Yep.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit. I keep getting these emails. I forward them to you. I know you helped us put something together about this. Didn't know this. There's a National High School Football Hall of Fame, and we're getting interested. I know we've got a local guy going in this year. You've done some reporting about that. What have you found out?
Yeah, this is going to be the 2nd year for the induction for the National High School Football Hall of Fame, and that's a great. Whoever came up with that, I think it's long overdue, and I salute them that they've come up with this. But last year in the inaugural class, Boardman's Bernie Kosar went into that. And it's really, these classes, the first 2 classes really have an Ohio flavor. But this year in the 2nd class, Paul Warfield, one of the all-time greats, Warren Harding grad, who starred at Ohio State and obviously starred with the Browns and then with the Miami Dolphins, is going to be among that class. He's from the Mahoning Valley, obviously. And there's a lot of good players going in this year again, but Paul Warfield is the one, and an Ohioan that really stands out. But there's several other Ohioans going in this year, but Warfield is, man, that's big time.
Yeah, I know they're trying to raise money to kind of improve it. It's interesting. I think they're doing the right thing. They've got kind of tied in with the Pro Football Hall of Fame, just in the Canton, Ohio area, which I think is good. It'll be interesting to see if that works out. You know what I mean? I mean, it sounds like they got a good basis for it. Obviously, they want to raise money, help grow it. I think it's got a path to stick, especially since it's kind of being in conjunction with the Pro Football Hall of Fame, right?
Right, absolutely. And this year's event, I believe, Chris, is going to be on Friday, June 7th, and the actual induction is going to be on Saturday, June 8th. And that's going to be at Umstead Hall that'd be on the McKinley campus. And that's going to be I'm sure that's going to be a great event. They did a really good job with it last year. And I think it's wonderful that we recognize some of the tremendous high school stars that we've had over the many decades in the United States. So that's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, and I'm thinking too, like the more they can tie in with the Hall of Fame, maybe they get some more TV coverage of it and everything else. I mean, it sounds like they're doing it the right path. You know what I mean? Just with it being in Canton and everything, I think you've got a better chance of drawing some of these major people you're attracting to it. So good for them. I like what they're doing there.
Yeah, I like that. The fact that you're in the hotbed of really high school football, but college and pro. I mean, when you think about Ohio, it all began here for pro football, and it's great. In fact, I think I was looking at on the Mount Union campus. I believe there's some historical things with Mount Union. I think that was the site of the first, I believe, night college football game in Ohio at Mount Union
Wow.
Stadium. That was back. I think it was called. I don't know if it was Hartshorn Stadium back in the day. Now it's Kara Stadium, so I think it's changed names. But that, and I believe Salem's Riley Stadium, which is now Bob Sebo Stadium. I believe that was the site of the first night high school football game in Ohio. So we have a lot of really, really cool things that started here in the Buckeye State and in northeastern Ohio.
Well, I think for the sake of Canton too, it's good. They've been really trying to build out that Hall of Fame complex and have this part of it.
Yeah.
It just makes sense on all kinds of different levels. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, it's a win-win. It's if you're gonna start a high school football Hall of Fame, I can't think of a better place than Canton, Ohio.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And I'm looking too, man. Some of these inductees, I mean, it's a who's who. I mean, Dick
Oh my, Billy
Buckus,
Sims, Dick
yeah.
Butkus. Oh, and it goes on and on and on.
I'm seeing John Cooper. Is that old Ohio State coach John Cooper, or are we talking
Oh,
somebody else?
I don't see that name on.
Yeah, no, he went in from 2024. Again, I'm not sure if that's the Ohio State John Cooper or
No,
another
I
John
think
Cooper.
that's a
I'm not-
different. I'm pretty sure that's a different one. And that
Oh,
may
okay.
very well, you may very well be talking about a different Hall of Fame there. I don't believe that's, at least one I've seen. I think that might be a different one.
Yep. Very good. All right. So yeah, keep tuned in. I will tell you too, we are taping this Monday afternoon. Lots of things going on with the Guardians and the Cavs. We didn't talk about them today, but check Mahoning Matters for coverage. I know Monday night's the big game 4 of the Celtics Cavs series, and the Guardians continue on a little bit of a tough, um, just a tough stretch last week against the White Sox, but obviously, it's a long way of going. It's a long season. Hopefully, you can get back off the schneid. So it should be good. All right. Well, Mike, as always, thanks for taking part. And have a great day, everybody. And thanks for checking out Mahoney Matters.